Welcome to the Way We See It podcast.
where we talk about politics, social justice, and culture.
I'm Tati,
And I'm Ariana.
and we are your host of this podcast. It's not gonna catch me slacking no more. Alrighty. 3, 2, 1, action. Welcome back, everybody, to the Way We See It podcast. This is episode 35. 36 you could check out tomorrow, which comes out Saturday, which is what day? I don't even know, but it comes out Saturday.
Today's 12, 13, 15?
The 15. Okay, anyways, week 15 was technically last week, because you know how every week I say episode 15 and whatever. You guys know what I'm saying if you actually listen to the podcast. But this is episode 35, week 16 now. Sorry that we didn't get to post our episode last week. We were getting a bit lit, had our own things going on.
It was also finals week too.
Yeah, it was my finals. I had finals back to back with work, and then Ariana also had her own stuff going on. So not so much lit, but we were just going.
We celebrated by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
Apart, but we celebrated.
We celebrated how the best way we knew how. And yeah, that's all you guys need to really know right now. You'll find out later on. Anyways, so yeah, as you guys can see from this week's topic, we're gonna do Asian American Pacific Islander Month. But before we get into that, don't forget to check out our socials. We're on Instagram and Twitter at The Way We See It with the C. In the link.
The link. You got it?
In the links of our bios, in the bio we have a link that you guys can check out where we have our podcast, our YouTube, and also the link to our website if you haven't checked that out already, where we have our blogs, our citations, our resources, and much more if you guys want to check that out. Not to mention that we're also on YouTube now with our visuals, which is what we're doing here. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, hello. You get to see our pretty faces every week, and if you don't watch us on YouTube, and you could always listen on the regular podcast if that's what you want to do, but if you also want to see our pretty faces every week, like I said, you know where to find us at The Way We See It with a C. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let's get down into business.
Yes, so in honor of Asian American Pacific Islander Month, we're gonna be talking about these folks. Every month we always try to find like what's like the awareness of that month.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally all the 12 months of the year, there's always something to talk about or to bring more awareness about. So Tati and I, we always pay attention to what's going on each month. So in this episode, we're just gonna shed light on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders.
Yes.
And why you want to talk about this? There's a lot going on in the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. I know there's been hate crimes
Back to back
that these folks have experienced before the pandemic, but definitely after the pandemic, the numbers have spiked for hate crimes against this community.
Exponentially.
And that's because a lot of people think that the virus started in China, and we did have a president that used to call it the China virus.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I was saying before, when we recorded this for the first time, I'm saying this for the second time.
Yeah.
That I couldn't imagine, like, people from, identify as Asian American, Pacific Islander, seeing the president of the United States at the time calling it the China virus.
Yeah.
In front of the news where millions of people are watching, especially we're all stuck at home. So
yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Ariana said. Not to mention, I just feel in general when Trump was during his presidency that he's the reason for a lot more of the violence that we have now. I feel like a lot more like we said, racism and violence among these communities has been going on for years, decades, centuries. Let's not forget to mention that anybody that was not white once upon a time was a slave. So it's just one of those things where I really feel like he's someone that played a major role in a lot of the things, especially the Asian community is going through, because his words really did evoke like a lot of violence and a lot of like hate crimes, and we'll get into some of those statistics later on today. But yeah, so I just think it's definitely an important issue to focus on and spread awareness about, especially during Asian American Pacific Islander month, because this is their month. And it's definitely one of those feel good moments, you know, just like how it's Black History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, like LGBTQ American, LGBTQ plus month. Like it's one of those things where each person that's in that, you know, in that category, like we feel like the shit. Like we're like, yeah, like I'm from this place. This is my culture. This is what we do. Like it's a pat yourself in the back moment, and yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, that's just why I think it's important to like pay attention to right now.
Also, I feel like it's something that's not really like put out on the media
As
like,
much,
especially like with the like hate crimes, like it wasn't as much on the news as compared to other groups that
like BLM.
Yeah.
So Jinx, touch red.
Well,
You owe me a soda.
I don't really. Well, I kind of know why, but
yeah, it's the media, it's the mass media, and it's showing just certain things, and you know, it's only showing certain points of views and certain things that the people care about, and unfortunately, they don't believe that one of those issues includes other people besides Black people right now, and that's kind of sad because at the end of the day, Black people are not the only ones that go through these hate crimes and these acts of injustice, but other minorities as well. As this includes Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and like we always say, anybody else that's not considered white. So that's just one of the things, and one of the actual episodes we plan on doing before season 2 ends, like basically the coverage of mass media because of things like this, because I only see like the things that are happening within the Asian community from like my Asian friends and what they're posting. Like you have to physically follow an Asian account to see what's happening to the Asian community. Yeah. And like even from the things hello. How are you?
Hi papi, so papi.
Okay. I heard the garage. I knew he was gonna come with this. But okay, let me hear the last thing I said. Hello. We follow an Asian account to see what's happening to the Asian community. Yeah. And like even from the no shit. I just got that deleted. See what's happening to the Asian community. Yeah. And like even from the things community. Yeah. And Asian community. To see what's happening to the Asian community. Yeah. And that's it. Okay. Asian community, and not to mention, not even like me following like my Asian friends, but like them having to follow an Asian account that personally post just like Asian news, you know, which sucks because you know we see all these accounts that post news and you hardly ever see like all the things. Like I'm seeing these brutal acts of like hate crimes, like literally people's faces getting smashed in the side of the street, and it's like so hard to watch, and I don't see that anywhere like whatsoever. And I see them acknowledging some people in the news, like especially in the city, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. They only show like small things, like maybe a robbery, but they don't show like the brutal acts that people are committing against these people. Yeah, they don't. They like show the big acts, like the one that happened in Atlanta with the spa. Yeah, that's the only like big one I feel like a lot of people talked about, but the other ones, there's been a lot, and like especially in the train here in New York City. Yeah, a lot of effed up shit goes on in the world, sadly. But moving on, so we're gonna get into the history now about the abbreviation for American Asian Pacific Islander Month is AAPI, so that's how we're gonna be referencing it this episode. So AAPI month is only celebrated annually in the US within the month of May to help celebrate the culture, history, and attributes these communities have in American society and across the world. Individuals within the AAPI area include, for example, China, Japan, Korea, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Samoa. And in South Asia, they also include India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, one of those two, yeah. Sri Lanka, Nepal, Singapore, and Bhutan. Sorry if I'm pronouncing them wrong. And according to the Arts and Culture with Google, over 20 million people of Asian American and Pacific Islander descent live in the U.S., totaling about 6% of the U.S. population. And also, just a little side note, the arts and culture thing that I just referenced from Google, like, it's a cute little representation, like a slideshow that they made for this month to show, like, I don't know, just like, what if America was made of Asians, like, completely, like, what if Christopher Columbus was Asian? It was so cute and so nice to, like, show, like, the history and how people are celebrating this month in general. So if you want to check that out and the art that they have along with that too, I would check that out. But I'm also going to be referencing from the Asian Pacific Heritage website. It's an actual website by the government made to put actual facts and, like, current events and stuff that's happening within their communities. So basically how the Pacific Islander and Asian American month came to be. So back in 1977, Reps Frank Horton of New York introduced to the House a House Joint Resolution 540 to proclaim the first 10 days in May as Pacific/Asian American Heritage Week. In the same year, Senator Daniel Inouye introduced a similar resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 72. I wonder why they always put, like, these numbers at the end.
Yeah.
I never understood that. Anyways, so
these are like the legislation numbers, right?
I think so. I have no idea. Yeah, big words. Words also we sit on us. Speak proper English. Neither of these resolutions passed when they brought it to, like, the Congress and the Senate to even have just the first 10 days, like, in celebration of them, which is crazy. So neither of the resolutions passed. So in June 1978, Rep. Horton introduced to the House during the first 10 days of May of 1979 as Asian Pacific American Heritage Week again. And the joint resolution was finally passed by the House. So that was 2 years after the original year that they had first getting that done. And it was signed by President Jimmy Carter on October 5th, 1978 to become Public Law 95/419. This law amended the original language of the bill and directed the president to issue a proclamation for the 7-day period beginning May 4th, 1979 as Asia Pacific American Heritage Week. During the next decade, presidents passed annual proclamations for Asian Pacific American Heritage Week until 1990, when Congress passed Public Law 101-283, which expanded the observance to a month for 1990. Then in 1982, Congress passed another version of Public Law, which annually designated May as Asian/Pacific American Heritage Month. Why can't I speak today? So it took years to even make this a thing.
And I just did the math. This is the 43rd year.
43rd year?
Because you said 1978.
Since they first made that first approach, yeah. But
so when was like the first? What year was the first official month?
1999.
Oh, so 21 years. The year my brother was born.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's 21 years. If you it's not a lot.
It's definitely not a lot at all. Because I feel like the other ones where we talked about how long it took those, besides maybe like Black History Month,
like before 1999.
Yeah, like way before 1999. Like definitely in the 70s it was by, but like 77 is when they first approached it. So they said no. They said no. They had over 2 years. Then they got it passed for 7 days. Only the first week, and then it took until 1999, like mad long, to even like make it a whole month to celebrate for the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I really can't speak today. I think it's like a real tongue twister saying all of that together.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on, just some things that we wanted to just say within this month is just some things to be aware of as someone who's not Asian or considered a Pacific Islander, and how you can help your friends and people just around you in your area within this month. Like, I know a lot of like people I know within the Asian community, they always like post their beliefs like for Chinese New Year, don't call it Chinese New Year because not everybody's Chinese, so call it Lunar New Year. You know, if you want to learn some things, yeah, I would suggest going to actual valid websites on the internet. But also, if you have friends around you, don't be scared to ask some questions. Like, just don't be a freak about it. Like, be like, oh, so like, what can you tell me about your culture? So like, just be like, hey, like, I know everything that's going on in the media right now and within the world, within like your community, and I know it's also pretty scary for you because I know you have a parental in this area and you guys are Chinese or Korean, Vietnamese, whatever. Like, how can I help? Like, what are some things I can know that you can tell me that I can tell other people for us to learn or for us to help you in the future, you know? Like, just things like that, because it really does go a long way. And I know that also goes for me. Like, as a Hispanic, I know it probably applies to you also as being a Black, Hispanic, Latina. So, like, we all have our different
struggles. But I feel like at the end of the day, we all struggle in the minority community, people that are not white. But you know, we all go through things. This place was not made for us.
It just sucks though, because like I'll see a lot of videos too that says like why America really is not the greatest country in the world, and like how like it has to do a lot with money, but like also not to mention like how unwelcoming they are with certain like races, and like how like no matter what they have with these discrimination laws and whatever else in place in schools and works and buildings, whatever, anywhere you go, like discrimination cannot be held against you, yet it's still an issue. And unfortunately recently, like we said before, the Asian community, Pacific Islanders especially also, have been going through a lot since COVID began, 10 times more. That I even saw a statistic that said hate crimes in Boston within the Asian community have gone up 60%, which is a lot, because 60%, what's the other 40% of the hate crimes? You know, and if that's just Boston, imagine within the US in general. So that's a scary thing to see. And Ariana also has current statistics about it based off Stop AAPI hate.org, and like there's stuff that they have here regarding statistics about the violent acts that are committed against them. So
and speaking of laws, I know Senate did pass a law against hate crime against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. I honestly don't know what the law does. And I probably should have like researched that before I said that. I'm not gonna say more than what I just said, because I honestly don't know what the law does. I don't know everything, guys.
But the thing is with those things, like, it's nice to see our government is acknowledging it themselves to the point where they are making like these laws and these bills. But then at the end of the day, that's where, you know, history and government comes into play, because the states don't always have to abide by what the government says. Only in a state of emergency do the states need to abide by the actual government. So, and that is in the Constitution, Articles of Confederation. So, that's the only thing though. So like, even though they're having this, other states can literally not give two Fs about that. Like, and can just let people continue doing their thing. People of the world aren't even going to be affected by it, especially if they know that the government is not after them.
Yeah.
Like, hello, the government is also still focused on capturing people that stormed the Capitol. Like,
Yeah, that was back in January.
yeah, and because there was mad heads, like they're still trying to catch everybody. And I just saw like this article the other day that the FBI got like a tip that somebody that had stormed the Capitol, how he had like COVID-19 when he stormed the Capitol, and that's like an extra case because you know the CDC says by law you need to stay home if you have COVID.
Yeah.
And so one, he's outside with COVID, then two, storming the Capitol.
Well,
Right?
it's a double homicide.
Stop. Double homicide. Now I'm dead.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that like when investigating like these hate crimes, although you know like looking at from the outside in, especially if somebody's out here specifically like going out and
Excuse me.
killing Asian American people and Pacific Islanders folks. But then like in the investigation,
Excuse me, guys.
they always like in some investigations they say like, oh, we don't know what was the intention.
Yeah, but we know the intention. Nobody just wants to say it because it's an accusation, but it's clear as day majority of the time. Anyways, let's get into the statistics.
So these are like the statistics that I'm reading from AAPI.org, and these statistics are from March 19, 2020. So March.
Oh,
From March 19, 2020. So like right when the pandemic started, and till March 31st, 2021.
So verbal harassment.
Yes, so verbal harassment 65.2, and shunning, which is that like that.
Shunning is like, hold on, guys, I'm 20 years old and I don't even know what, oh, not my Siri. Shunning, dictionary, please hold. Shunning. To shun somebody, according to the Webster Dictionary, is to persistently avoid, ignore, and reject somebody through antipathy or caution. So, I know what shunning is. Shunning is like what the Christian community does. Where they're like, oh, shame on you, shame on your father, shame on your daughter, shame on your cow. That's what they say in Mulan. They're like, oh, you'll bring dishonor to us all, that's shunning.
Okay, I see.
Like violating the heck out of you.
So the percentage that I'm saying is out of 6,603 incidents that were reported. So these are only ones that were reported. There's probably more from the ones that weren't reported. So physical assault, 12.6%, which is the third largest category of total reported incidents. Civil right violations such as workplace discrimination, refusal of service, and being barred from transportation account for 10.3% of the total incidents. Online harassment make up 7.3% of total incidents. And for national trends, so the ones I just said was just the US. A large percentage of incidents take place in public streets and parks, which we have seen in the incidents that we have reported. And businesses. So streets and parks, 37.8%, businesses, 32.2%. Gender, language, and religion are cited as motivating factors for discrimination in 21.7% of incidents. Hate incidents reported by women make up 64.8% of all reports. And youth, which ages between 0 to 17, report 11.0% of incidents. And seniors, 60 years old and older, people report 6.6% of the total incidents. And lastly, Chinese individuals have reported more hate incidents, 43.7%, than other race or ethnic groups, followed by Koreans, 16.6%, Filipinx, 8.6%, and Vietnamese, 8.3%.
Yeah.
So that's the report they had from last year to this year, March. And you can look at their website. They have other reports as well.
Yeah, and even on their homepage that I saw, they have like an area where you can report incidents, so you can add on to these statistics. And I think that's actually really cool too, because if more people knew about this website and where they can report hate incidents as well, besides, calling the whack-ass police if they're even doing anything about it, is to actually put it here so we can really see the statistics. Because people love to say that the numbers are wrong. But then if their favorite person in the world says something about numbers, don't believe it. So, and that's the damn truth. Thank you for coming to The Way We See It, and this is The Way We See It.
Period.
I've been waiting to say that since our podcast started because I haven't said it since then. But yeah, guys, so that basically concludes this week's topic for AAPI month. Don't forget to be there for your loved ones, your friends that are within the Asian Pacific Islander community. Try to educate yourself more. Like, we gave you guys some information, but there's a lot of things out there that you can read and like see for yourself, like the real truth of the things that they're really going through. Like, there's so many videos of the violence that goes on as well. Like, see how you can help, sign petitions, help volunteer communities. If you even see a poor Asian lady by herself, I would even consider like helping her. Like, I have Asian people, especially old Asian like women come into my store, and I always tell them like be safe out there, because like the area I live in is extremely racist and extremely racist. And so I see them I'm like, God forbid one of these people see you out there and they deadass try to run you over. Like, I would not be surprised. Like, they have Trump rallies still past my job, and it's just like bad. It's like embarrassing that people hate like anybody that's not white. Yeah. And it sucks because I acknowledge the white people out there that aren't like that and actually stand with our communities and acknowledge like the way we're oppressed and discriminated against. But the people that really don't see nothing wrong with it, it's just like a sad thing, because like that's your privilege speaking. And that also applies to people within our communities that believe that just trying to be, which is what we say, whitewash, like trying to act like how they act, try to dress how they act, is going to make them see you any differently. But if you just bring out your language, say certain things, like, they're going to see you in a different light. And I actually remember, I know a few people that like they joke around like these kinds of things where it's like, sure, like, not saying you're sensitive, you can't handle this, but it's also like, especially during these times, it's kind of weird to hear a white friend say, "Oh, shut up before I deport your ass, ha ha ha." Like, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't call me sensitive, but I don't joke
around that things. Yeah, especially around this time, bro. Because first of all, you say that stuff in front of anybody, you're gonna get popped in the mouth, depending on who you're talking to. Second of all, it's just put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in their ancestors' shoes. Like, if anything, like that shit is fucked up. Like, really.
I'm that person, like, in the group, if somebody jokes about something that I don't like, I will say something.
Our friend group,
especially our friend group, if they say something like towards like women and stuff, immediately.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, you guys belong in the kitchen." We're like, "What do you mean? We belong in the kitchen." Talking about you in this week's podcast. But nah, yeah, like, it's just like it's not okay, but it, like, I can understand why some people do think it's okay. But, like, still, like, really just watch what you're saying around people, because you never really know. And just help others. It's really not that hard to help people that don't just benefit you. So, yeah, that concludes this week's topic. We're going into the current events. Let's go.
Yes. So, because, like, we missed our upload schedule last week, some of these events happened last week and some of them happened this week.
I actually didn't even know about some of these, so
yeah. So first, Texas lawmakers passed restrictive voting bill. On Friday, May 7th, Texas lawmakers passed a new bill which will place more restrictive state election laws. Texas lawmakers spent all night debating over Democratic proposed amendments. The meeting started on the evening of May 6th at 7 p.m. and did not finish until 4 a.m. the next day. They was there chatting for however many hours.
This is the Home Alone face.
But I just find it crazy. How are you gonna have like a meeting or I don't know what they call it, conference?
Yeah.
About something so important for that long. Like after a while, doesn't your brain cells like be gone at certain point?
No, I actually this reminds me. I watched it in my English class, I believe, my senior year. There was this movie we watched, and it was about this boy who had killed his abuser, and the jury was arguing about the verdict for hours, like almost a whole day. They were like, can we go home now? Like, can we just say that he's guilty and everything? They're like, no, because this is like a kid's life. Like, are we really sending him to jail, or are we gonna believe what he said and this and that? Because like, and it was like a whole big thing. Like, some people were like, let's just go home. Other people were like, no, because he's not innocent. Other people were like, yeah, but he is innocent. Okay, but here's the evidence. Oh, here's the other evidence. And they're literally just around the table, and it takes place in like the 1900s. What? I forget. And they're like smoking their cigarettes, trying to figure it out. They're arguing, they're fighting, and it's like, this is what some jury people go through. Actually, I think I watched it in my business law class, now that I think about it. I have to find it. I really don't know what it's called, but that's why I can understand why it takes so long to make a decision after I watched that, because just like, the people in your jury are supposed to have different viewpoints. Usually, the lawyers that are handling the cases, they pick from the jury. Like, they call a whole bunch of people to the jury. Then they select who they're keeping because they think of whoever is going to help their defendant. And, you know, sometimes it works in their favor, sometimes it doesn't. And that's why it lasts that long, because who knows if they really have an opinion or not. That's why they also, a lot of lawyers, they try to keep, depending on the case, they try to keep older folks instead of the younger, because the younger folks are thinking more of like the new stuff, like outside the new mindset that we're all having, that we're all trying to create. Like, you know, everybody's equal, everybody should have like these certain chances in their life. Oh, depending on the evidence, like maybe let him go. Meanwhile, old people are stuck in the old traditional ways where they believe that they'll stick to those.
Not all old people, we're not generalizing, but
I'm saying, but that's what some lawyers go for when it comes to picking certain juries. I remember learning that in business law. So
yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, how can you be in a meeting for that long?
Right?
I did not study to be a lawyer, or lawmaker.
I need the food.
So they did not finish their meeting until 4 a.m. the next day. So the bill includes, it will limit early voting rules. It will ban drive-through voting.
Oh, they suck.
And it will make it a felony to provide voters with an application to vote by mail if the voter did not request one. So basically, if you want to vote by mail, you have to request it. If you send it without requesting it, felony.
Imagine getting a felony charge and going to prison for not requesting a voter's ballot. That's OD.
And let me tell you, like, when I read that, I'm like, they do that on purpose, because they know, like, after the pandemic, a lot of people became comfortable with
being
home and like voting by mail, and they saw that it worked. You know what I mean? Because people were trying to push that voting by mail is fraud and this and that and the third. So, you know, like, I feel like once a person is comfortable voting by mail, they're gonna vote by mail the following election. So now they're putting another thing to make it harder.
I don't care if everything's bigger in Texas. Texas is ass. I do not care.
The bill was
Sorry
passed.
to our supporters if you are from Texas. I don't mean you.
Yeah, the laws in Texas.
Yeah, your government is ass.
That's what houses I mean. There be fire, and the prices be fire.
The McDonald's meals be fire, but not the laws.
The bill was passed with an 81-64 vote, and also watchers can be present at the voting polls on election day. But the bill will make it difficult to remove watchers from the voting poll. So, yeah.
That's OD, yo. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, it's a whole lot going on. And I forgot which state, but another state passed it.
The other state that had restriction laws now was Atlanta. Or no, yes,
Georgia.
So, yeah, because they said that you can't be... no, like, pickup trucks and stuff, like, on the lines.
Yeah, Georgia was the one that said that you can't bring food.
Yeah, you can't bring food, drinks, can't get off the line to get food. What's called they're gonna shorten the hours basically.
Yeah.
Like whoever is like, even if you've been waiting for hours, if you're not at the door by the time they close, that's it, you still have to leave. That's ass.
Yeah.
So annoying.
So our next current event
is the Derek Chauvin sentencing update. So as we reported last month, Derek Chauvin was convicted last month for the murder of George Floyd and is in jail awaiting his sentence. On May 4th, Chauvin's attorney, Eric Nelson, filed for a new trial. Nelson wrote a 4-page document stating a number of errors the defense believes were made during the trial and how Chauvin's rights were violated. On Thursday, May 12th, Judge Peter Cahill, the judge of Chauvin's trial, reported that 4 aggravating factors are present in the case. First being Chauvin abused a position of trust and authority as a police officer. Second, he treated Floyd with particular cruelty. 3, committed the crime as part of a group with at least 3 other people. 4, children were present during the commission of the offense. And then the next point is his sentencing date will be next month again, June 25th, and we will keep you updated on what happens. That's crazy because he already got his sentence and now they're redoing the trial.
No, he didn't get his sentence yet.
He got charged. He got
guilty, but like they didn't say how many years yet.
Oh, they didn't? I thought they did.
That's June 25th.
Oh,
shit. That's gonna be a crazy day. That's also the last day of school for like all New York City schools, so it's gonna be
active.
It's gonna be crazy that day.
Yeah, active. I'll always remember June 25th, 24th, 25th, 26th as the day as like public schools out. Yo, we out to the beach. Yo, we out to the park. Like you.
So yeah, so the judge said that those 4 different points on today, May 12th. So we'll see if this will get him a harsher sentence.
That judge is not playing. I could tell. That judge is like, listen. Yeah. So then, here's the last one for this week.
Yes, COVID-19 vaccinations will be required for all SUNY and CUNY students. On Monday, May 10th, New York Governor Cuomo announced that all state University of New York SUNYs and City University of New York CUNYs will require the COVID-19 vaccine for students returning this fall.
Unbelievable! Unbelievable! I didn't know about this current event until today, and this was Monday.
It's okay. It's only
I don't care, yo. Like, cause me and Ariana have been talking about. She's like, last week. I don't know if she said in the episode or when we were off the episode, but like how she knew NYU was requiring it.
Cornell now.
Yeah, Cornell. Like, just some schools were saying that they require a vaccine to come back to school, and I was just like, that's unbelievable. Like, this is why I don't want to take the vaccine. Like, first, it was originally because I was scared of needles. I don't want to go to the doctor. Second, now it's because I feel it being forced upon me, and I don't like anything forced upon me. Like, why is it like nothing else is this forced? Like, I understand in certain aspects why yes, we should be taking the vaccine, but at the end of the day, 1, you're still gonna get symptoms of COVID after you get it. Yeah. 2, you're not safe from COVID once you get the vaccines. Just like how you're not safe from the flu after you get the flu shot. You can still get it. It's just your symptoms are not going to be as, worse. That's the whole point of a vaccine, no matter what the vaccine. It's literally just the vaccine itself, just less, not so strong, basically. That's literally what a vaccine is. And not to mention, it's just like, I understand we want to go back to normal and everything. And me personally, as someone who does follow safety procedures from the CDC, I'm always cleaning my hands, always cleaning my areas, always, especially when I'm at work, making sure my hands are clean before touching other people's shoes after I just touch somebody else's shoes, like that they definitely had on, or touching the box, whatever. Like, I'm gonna make sure I'm safe and that person is gonna be safe. And to think that I can't even get to my normal because they are saying only certain people, they're pushing it this hard, is like, why?
Yeah.
And it sucks.
I feel like they have to do exceptions, because I was thinking, like, what if a person is a student and pregnant? A person that's pregnant is not going to get the vaccine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Like,
they're not allowed
they
to.
They definitely have to be exceptions, and it's important to know. And I didn't know this, because once I read it and, did a little research, I was like, In legal terms, this is not currently really a requirement until the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, approves the vaccine. So last Friday, Pfizer, which is one of the companies, asked the FDA for full approval. Just last Friday. And meanwhile, it's been out for a good minute.
Yeah.
And Cuomo stated SUNY and CUNY could not mandate until FDA gives full approval. So we don't know when the FDA will do that.
Yeah.
So they trying to do it by September because they want everybody to be.
They want everybody active this summer. Listen.
Well, they said New York City opening July 1st.
Yeah, bro. Listen, that's the one thing. Like, I love Cuomo and I love de Blasio because they really like New Yorkers. Like, no lie. But this, when they were Cuomo trying to force this vaccine on me, I'm gonna have to take a few steps away from him because isn't Cuomo also the one with the sex
allegations?
Yeah.
And he also
there's that. Now he got 2 strikes.
He lied about like the nursing home facility COVID-19 deaths.
3 strikes. And but like at the same time, like he got those 3 strikes, but I know he wants us to be active this summer because he knows how lit the city be. Like, I'm out here visiting my friend and everything. We're out in the city, heads popping, music popping on every street. I was out in the Bronx the other day in Dykeman, and I was just like, yo, like, it's lit here. I see people on their bikes, like, going by. I'm like, it's already lit. So imagine by the summertime if they're really trying to push, like, no mask whatsoever. Cool. But,
no mask.
yeah, Cuomo and de Blasio, they had said on the news one day I was watching, he's like, yeah, by the end of the summer, within the summer, I would like there to be no mask whatsoever. I was like, okay. I'm still gonna have my mask on.
This summer gonna be different.
I think this summer's gonna be a bit like 2016.
Oh, I know.
Just COVID style.
We've been stuck home for over a year. We're just trying to let our demons out.
Facts. No printer. 19. No COVID. Yeah, we think we're hilarious. All right, guys. That concludes this week's episode. We'll see you tomorrow with episode 26.
The same outfit, but we're not dirty. We're just recording back to back.
Yeah, facts. Okay. Peace out. Bye.